talking today about the common comic book technique. It's called a splash page. And splash pages it's just where there is a single image that goes from corner to corner of the page. Splash pages. So what's going to come it's just me talking about what a splash page is, why they're important when it comes to comic book artwork, how they roll into the storytelling. There's so many different techniques for this, but a lot of the technique derived from a art direction and what the overall intent of the page is. So yeah, that's what I'm about to show you. So it's just like a time lapse. It's something I'm experimenting with, and there's going to be some nice audio that uncovers the insight and the expertise. That's what I'm about to show you with some nice commentary. So I love you. Become an AKA Patter, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. But enjoy it. Let me know if you like it. Comment below.
Yeah, so here I did like a preliminary drawing. I even light boxed that, but what I mean by light box, this really isn't a light box. I'm using a light board, and I just like to add layers of paper, like on top of itself to like map out the form, to hone in on exactly what the pose is. Why? Because it takes time to visualize the motion and exactly what's happening on the page in your mind. If you see it in your mind's eye and you can kind of like draw through it, and by that I mean it really goes from your brain out your pencil. When you get to that stage, you can just focus on perfecting it, getting the right roundness, getting the right modeling. Modeling would be the blacks, and how we break up the blacks by adding feathering or cross hatching. So for here, I had a lot of foreshortening to do. I basically had to foreshorten the pose from the character's head all the way to his nails, and things had to overlap, in particular order, so that you got the sense that there was distance and motion. So when you see it, it's easily communicated, and that's a part of the overall discipline. That's the guess and check, and there's no shortcuts about it. It's just something you have to regularly do and regularly think about. There's books available. Bone Hogarth is like you have to buy every single one of his books. Okay? He's got about 6 books out there, all on anatomy. One's on wrinkles, one's on lighting and shading. Those books will teach you dynamic figure drawing, and that's a lot of what the 90s was all about. It was almost like part Bone Hogarth dynamic figure drawing and part Jack Kirby, and this pose is exactly that. I wanted to cheat, I wanted to lie, I wanted to trick the eye a little bit along the way, but still stay true to the anatomical forms. You can even see as on the right hand side, I cheated the armor around one of the shoulder blades, or the deltoid muscles. And why did I do that? Because drawing the armor properly, it would not have looked right. It would have looked boring. I essentially just left it out to move forward with communicating the idea of what was happening, because we're not drawing an art piece here. This is a still, this is a frame, okay, of a larger story. I'm drawing a piece of a story. This is not singular artwork, okay? This artwork has a purpose within the narrative, and that's that's the position you have to take when you draw comics. You're drawing a story. You're not just drawing pretty pictures. It helps, but being accurate in communicating exactly what's happening is far more important than drawing something that looks spectacular. Now, along the way, your skill set's going to grow, your style's going to get solidified and even shift and evolve a little bit. This is why guys like Jim Lee, they have a slow evolution of a style throughout their career. Even guys like Alex Ross, and it's hard to even see it in Alex Ross, but his decisions throughout the years has shifted. His interest has shifted, and the reason for that is because as an artist, you're constantly thriving to make it better, to make it different. You're almost like in self-amusement. You're entertaining yourself. So when we're done with the penciling here and we're happy with just laying it down. I like very loose pencils. I don't have to do tight pencils because I am skilled enough with the pen and ink to go right in and lay down those blacks and make something happen. Now, a lot of times I'm redrawing and rethinking those exact lines that I was happy with when I was light boarding the piece. Now, why is that? Because you're still changing the line weight. You know, like the weight of the pen and the brush is different than the weight of the pencil, and so the line intersection is not going to be there. You're going to have to come up with it all over again, but you have a blueprint, and that's it. Like, that's essentially, you know, what a splash page is. And, you know, like, it's this part of a story, and they're usually best used when you are selling the powers of a character or the capabilities of a character. You know, maybe like a revelation, but I'd like to let people know what this character is all about and use a splash page for it. And I think for this dude here, I mean, come on, bad mother effer, mean looking dude, vascularity, you know, growling mouth, you know, this is pure 90s. I have such a joy going into this direction with this story. Yeah, and like I said before, mostly because there's so little of it right now on the comic rack, I just feel like I'm contributing to an era that I feel, and I'll back it up. The 90s comics was the greatest era we'll ever have, like, period, in the comic industry. And I like the idea of chasing it, trying to get back to it. You know, like, how fantastical is that? But look, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments below if you'll like to see more videos like this, because I essentially video record everything I do at the drawing table. I have a ton of hours of stuff. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at AKAPat13, where I regularly post videos like this, and I do live art streams, and potentially live art streams will be coming to Twitch and YouTube themselves. But hey, thank you, everyone. I love you, and rock and roll.